Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to get started in just a minute. I'm going to give all our registrants a couple of minutes to join and to settle in, and we'll get started very soon. Okay, I see some people joining our webinar room. Hi and welcome. I would love to know where you all are from. So if you could just put in your location in the chat, that would be great. It's good to see where people are joining from. So I am in India, Hyderabad, and my colleague Navina, who's here as well, she's in Hyderabad too. Hey, Navina.
Hey, Tina.
Okay. I think it's time that we get started, right? So you all know that the time has come again for NetSuite's yearly release, which means that you are going to be seeing upgrades to its modules, enhancements for performance, and critical fixes for stability. And I already introduced myself, but if you're new here, I'm Tina, and I'm the marketing manager at Twarna/79 Consulting. Our team has reviewed NetSuite's release notes for 2025.2, and they have shortlisted some noteworthy highlights to share with you today. Now, if you'd like to take a deeper dive into specific topics, you can find the release notes on Suite Answers, or you could reach out to us for assistance. Quick note to everyone here, please post any questions that may come up during our session in the chat box, and we will address them towards the end. All right, before we begin, quick introduction to our company. We were founded in 2007, and we've been providing support, managed services, and integration services for NetSuite clients globally. You might already be aware that we go by the name 79 Consulting, which is our global brand. We are 79 Consulting, or Twarna. And to extend NetSuite's platform functionalities, we've developed a number of Suite apps that you can find on suiteapp.com using the search term Twarna. That's Tvarana. All right, you see the Suite apps right there. Okay, next on to our panel introductions. First up, Navina. Hey, Navina. She is our project manager, and she's responsible for client communications, requirement gathering, and project implementation using NetSuite native features or customizations. Eric is our senior NetSuite architect, and he has over 12 years of experience on NetSuite, and he's primarily focused on manufacturing and inventory distribution environments. Next is Uday, who's our scripting practice lead with over 20 years of IT experience. And he leads our scripting practice, like I said. Swati is next with 7 years of experience in NetSuite. She's our lead e-com consultant. Okay. All right. We have a lot of ground to cover and a whole lot of exciting updates. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Navina, I know that there are some pretty big changes in accounting this time. So should we start there?
Sure, absolutely, Tina. So accounting got some Powerful enhancements in this release, actually, so starting from the revenue recognition improvements to strict data controls and localization updates. So one of the biggest time savers is in the field mapping. So previously, if you had the same custom field on both your source and target, so NetSuite wouldn't allow us to map them. That meant every time the source changed, someone had to update the target also manually. But with this release, so we can now map identical custom fields, and all you have to do is to check that new automatically update target field value checkbox. So and then from then on, the target field updates itself whenever the source changes. Basically, it's a small checkbox, I know, but it removes the repetitive work and eliminates one of those easy to miss errors that can cause real problems during the close.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's one of those fixes that people have probably been asking for quietly for years, right? Controllers in our audience will appreciate not having to chase down mismatched fields at month end.
Yeah, exactly. Another big chase is direct revenue posting for ARM workflows. So in 2025.2, so we will see a new option in Suite Flows. So if it's enabled, the item posts directly to the revenue account. So skipping ARM altogether. So if it's disabled, then ARM rules continue to run as before. So this flexibility is especially important for businesses with hybrid revenue models, basically. So for example, companies who need some transactions recognized immediately at the point of sale, while others still follow standard ARM schedules, so can now handle both without any complex workarounds. And NetSuite also has tightened controls on revenue recognition journal entries this time. So debit and credit amounts have always been read only in the UI, but developers could still edit them through SweetScript or REST APIs. So that's no longer possible in 2025.2. So those restrictions now apply across the board. So what this really means is consistency and protection. So nobody can adjust recognized revenue behind the scenes, which keeps reports accurate and audit ready.
Yeah, okay. I think we need to move forward a slide. Bear with us, our network is a little slow. Okay, yeah. That closes a loophole some finance leaders didn't even realize existed, but auditors would definitely have noticed.
Exactly. And finally, on the localization side, NetSuite has expanded enhancements to support compliance in multiple regions. So making sure accounting teams stay aligned with country specific standards. Okay, so and let's move on to the banking now, right? So on the banking side, the theme is simple efficiency and control. So bank reconciliation has gotten a serious upgrade this time. So on the match bank data and reconcile account statement pages, so you can now process transactions in bulk, instead of submitting or undoing one by one. So you have options like submit selected, undo selected, or even submit all to reconcile everything in a single step. Even better, your selections persist when you move between pages or when you apply filters. So that's a big win for teams dealing with hundreds of transactions. Reconciliation is no longer has to be such a grind.
Yeah, that persistence feature alone is going to make the month end close a lot less stressful.
Definitely, Tina. And also for Brazil, there are two important updates. So first one is accounts receivable automation, and it now supports payments via Boletos Bancarios, which is employees, bank employees, and PIX, which means no more manual file exchanges with Banco do Brazil. So payments can now flow directly through the Suite app. So that cuts down on manual steps and speeds up the cash application, basically. that's the first one. The second change is more about flexibility. So when generating CNAB 400 files, you now have the option to disable automatic PDF generation for bank slips. So it's a small checkbox, but it lets teams tailor outputs to their own processes instead of being forced into one approach. So that was for Brazil. And for Australia, so Bank Feed Suite app, the version 2.0.6 has also two updates. So imports are now based on the last transaction ID, you know, uh, that automatically prevents duplicates from creeping in when transactions change, right? And admins also now receive automatic email notifications whenever a bank feed connection is created or terminated. So together, so these changes mean lesser errors and much stronger visibility into the banking connections, basically.
Right. And that visibility really matters. It's the difference between catching a broken connection right away versus finding out weeks later when reconciliations don't line up.
Exactly. And these banking updates are all about speed, accuracy, and stronger controls, right? So giving finance teams more confidence as they head into reconciliation and reporting.
Right. Okay. I guess it looks like we are now up on a poll before we proceed any further. So, audience, you're going to see it pop up on your screen right now. I think we can just move back to that poll slide. And everyone, please take just a couple of seconds to answer that before we move on. All right.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I was about to move to the CRM. Thanks, Tina. All right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the CRM, right? So the 2025.2 release brings enhancements across customer 360, sales order processing, and case management security as well. So all aimed at better visibility, transparency, and control. So the customer 360 suite app keeps evolving, in this release. So key metrics are now interactive instead of static. So opportunities and estimates like projected total, weighted total, and opportunities one link directly to workbooks, orders and returns. Those metrics also such as, orders in the year and average order value also connect to the transaction level workbooks. So receivables also get the same upgrade on the other side. Open invoices, overdue invoices, and available credit memos. So, and they now link to the customer specific workbooks. And there is a new activity tab showing a full chronological history of sales orders, invoices, credit memos, and returns. So, with all these updates, so customer 360 now shifts from being just a summary page into a true command center.
Yeah, and that makes it a lot easier to hold a customer review meeting instead of piecing data together from reports. Everything's right there.
Right, you exactly. So, and that brings us to the sales order processing. So, businesses using automatic location assignment. So they now can see finally why the system picked a certain warehouse. So on the sales orders system information tab, the business events processing history shows which rules were applied. So why some locations were skipped and what factors like inventory or postal codes influenced the decision, right? So that kind of transparency not only builds trust but also speeds up the troubleshooting. Okay, so now let's talk about some case management as well, right? So the external case response page now, which allows customers or partners to access a case without logging into NetSuite. So and it has received several safeguards. Admins can disable a link instantly. Links expire if the case email changes, and validity periods can now be set to um can be also set now, so links don't stay open indefinitely. This keeps external collaboration simple but secure. So overall, CRM enhancements in 2025.2 bring deeper customer insights, uh, very clear order processing logic, and much stronger case security. Okay, so now let's talk about order management. So this release is especially impactful for subscription-driven businesses with new capabilities for SaaS reporting, billing flexibility, and revenue visibility. So first up, SaaS metrics reporting. So NetSuite now automatically generates recurring revenue metrics like, new subscriptions, upsells, downsells, churn, and shows how they impact monthly and annual recurring revenue. A nightly process also pulls data from subscriptions, sales orders, and invoices to create these customizable records that feed into the dashboards, suite analytics also. So, and analytics warehouse as well. So, this means finance teams finally get consistent, reliable SaaS metrics inside NetSuite without depending on spreadsheets or any custom calculations.
That's pretty huge, right? MRR and ARR are the lifeblood of subscription businesses, and most teams spend days pulling that together offline.
Definitely, yeah. And with these metrics native in NetSuite, we can forecast more confidently, especially in NSPB, and make faster and data-driven decisions. Okay, and next is a change in suite billing. So the new adjust min-max commitment in areas preference is which now allows more flexible billing when the subscription frequency and usage frequency don't match. For example, if a customer is billed annually for a subscription but monthly for usage, right? Adjustments are now calculated per charge cycle, instead of one lump sum at year end. So this smooths out billing, aligns charges to actual usage, and improves both cash flow and customer transparency. And finally, a smaller one but very practical change. The next bill date from sales order billing schedules is now available in the report builder as well. That simple addition gives you visibility into upcoming revenue without running special reports. Okay, so taken together, so these order management updates provide better subscription metrics, fairer billing practices, and much clearer revenue forecasting. Okay,
Right.
yeah. So shall we move on to the customization,
Please.
Tina? All right. Yeah. So let's move on to the customization. So in 2025.2, NetSuite expands what you can do with custom segments and classification filtering as well. So before, if you set a custom segment to filter by a class, department, location, or subsidiary, it only applied to standard records. But now those same filter segments can be applied to custom records and even to other custom segments as well. The system automatically applies the filtering logic, so there is no extra setup. So there is also a new read only filter by column on the custom segment configuration page. uh, it actually gives the admins visibility into which classifications are applied you know
Yeah, that's going to be a big win for companies that are running a lot of custom processes. Consistency across standard and custom records is key for clean reporting.
Absolutely, yeah. This change makes data segmentation more powerful, more consistent, and much easier to manage across the platform. All right. So with that, let's move into the user interface, right? So usability also gets some attention in this release, right? So let's start with text enhanced translations, which is now available, letting you translate fields or selected text into supported languages without leaving NetSuite. So the system auto detects the source language, making it seamless to collaborate across global teams and communicate clearly with the customers. So now you can see that on the screenshot. Also, the Redwood Experience theme continues to roll out across more functions, bringing a consistent and modern interface throughout the system.
Let's pull up the next slide to see those screenshots,
Yeah.
right? And the next you can see is the Redwood Experience theme. Yeah.
And a major support improvement in this release is NetSuite Expert in Suite Answers. So it's now available globally, not just in North America. So users can type questions in plain English, receive summarized answers with links to relevant documentation, and provide feedback on the results as well. The search results are re-ranked for accuracy, making it much easier to find the right guidance quickly. So finally, a small but noticeable UI tweak is sublist headers now remain visible while scrolling. So, column names stay pinned at the top. So, users don't lose context when reviewing the long lists, basically. So, all these UI enhancements improve both the everyday experience and the accessibility of NetSuite as well, so which helps teams work faster and smarter as well. Let's now wrap up with platform and admin improvements. So the new service tier dashboard, it gives administrators a clear visibility into usage against service tier limits, monthly transaction lines, Suite Cloud Plus licenses, user licenses, and file cabinet storage as well. With this dashboard, so now you can anticipate when you are nearing capacity, and also you can plan for upgrades before performance is affected. So the duplicate detection also gets smarter with near match duplicate detection. Instead of relying on exact matches, so NetSuite now flags potential duplicates even with typos, misspellings, or variations in Latin or Cyrillic characters. Users see a banner with merge suggestions, which keeps records cleaner and analytics more accurate. There are also updates to roles and permissions this time. So two new standard roles are available. So project manager with permissions limited to project related tasks, and site operator designed for managers at physical locations. And a new parent role field shows the role hierarchies and unsupported permissions on custom roles. They're flagged for cleanup. In addition, the advanced partner center role must now can be, it can be customized from its standard version for consistency and security.
Okay. Let's move on.
All right. So, and for analytics, there is also the new Suite Success transaction types analysis workbook, and it shows daily transaction types, transaction breakdowns, and line level details for the current month as well. It's a great way to track usage trends and identify where transaction volume is coming from, basically. So uh, and finally, AI preferences now include settings for text enhanced translation. So because with this, admins can enable or disable the feature. They can decide whether external roles can use it, and choose supported languages. It gives more flexibility while keeping security top of mind. So altogether, these setup and maintenance updates gives administrators stronger oversight, cleaner data, and more control over how NetSuite grows with the business.
Right. Great. Now, Navina, a lot of customers use NetSuite to run project-based work, right? So visibility into financials and access control are big priorities. Tell us what's new in 2025.2 for projects.
Yeah, sure. So there are two important things. The first one is you can now access revenue plans directly from the project records itself. So there is a new revenue plan subtab where you can see both actual and forecast revenue plans tied to a project, without navigating through multiple records. So for project managers, this means financial data is right at their fingertips, making tracking and forecasting much easier.
That's pretty handy. Revenue tracking has always felt a bit disconnected from project data before.
You're right, Tina. Exactly. And we also have the second feature. So there is a new project manager role, like we talked earlier. So this standard role has predefined permissions focused solely on project management tasks like projects, resources, time and expense, and associated transactions, basically. It deliberately excludes access outside of those areas, which makes it more secure. So project managers can exactly get what they need without unnecessary exposure to sensitive functions. So together, these changes simplify oversight and they also strengthen the security for project-based teams.
Thanks, Navina. We have seen how NetSuite 2025.2 strengthens project visibility and security. And now let's turn to the warehouse. Inventory and supply chain are areas where even small improvements can create a big operational impact. And Eric's going to walk us through all these latest updates to inventory, warehouse management, and planning. Thanks, Navina. And Eric, over to you.
Thanks, Tina. So today, let's begin with the CSV import updates, which now allow support for bin put away worksheets. This has actually been a really long time coming. It's previously been available for WMS users. Now it is available through the standard CSV import page. So the warehouse teams can now assign bins in bulk by uploading a CSV through the import assistance. NetSuite then generates the bin put away worksheet transaction automatically. It's faster, easier, and reduces the errors that often come with manual entry. Next, we'll jump over to the warehouse management, where warehouse management sees multiple enhancements. On mobile, staff can block a bin during work order picking using a bin empty button. It integrates with Smart Count, so spot count immediately and unblock later. Notifications can now go up to 2 recipients for bin blocking events. Bulk pick task assignment can now be filtered by item process groups or families, which help optimize picking routes. And the auto lot numbering suite app is now available to auto-generate serial numbers at PO receiving and or assembly build, ensuring consistency and reducing manual entry.
Yeah, that's the kind of automation warehouse managers have been asking for. Fewer steps and fewer mistakes.
Exactly. It's about taking out friction from daily workflows. So in supply planning, the planning workbench now has a subsidiary filter. This is key for multinationals. Plus, planners can filter by action types. They can cancel firm, reschedule in firm, and reschedule out firm to quickly identify orders to cancel, pull forward, or push out. This makes planning decisions faster and more data-driven. In supply allocation, kit items now show an earliest availability pop-up that accounts for all components and allocation rules. Its item records can default allocation strategies defined, which are automatically applied on sales orders and for transfers. A new override lead time field lets you set custom lead times on transfer orders and intercompany transfer orders, improving availability projections at the destination. Now, SEM Mobile also improves. You can manually resync printers from the UI, view account ID and name in the app, add precise time entries, and even set custom loading text for custom mobile actions. Then finally, in their quality management, adds alerts for missed inspections, new sampling template options, percentage or fixed count, and lot-based statistical sampling. Together, these ensure compliance and more accurate representation of batches. So from bin setup to planning logic to inspection safeguards, these updates make supply chains more transparent, efficient, and resilient.
Great overview, Eric. And we're going to move on to manufacturing. But before that, we're going to put in another poll for our audience, and this shouldn't take more than a few seconds. All right. Okay, let's move on. Thanks, everyone. Now on to manufacturing. And this is an area where visibility and traceability can make or break operations. Eric, what are the big updates for this time?
Yeah, there are several, from manufacturing bombs to outsourced production in mobile workflows. The focus this time is really on transparency and control at the shop floor level. So, BOM revision components in the system notes. In the past, it was difficult to track a complete history of changes to the advanced bill of material revisions. You couldn't really easily see who made a change, when it was made, or what the previous value was. Now, each BOM component includes a history link. Clicking this shows a full audit trail, the date of the change, and the user who made it, and both the old and new values. That means manufacturers finally have a clear compliance-ready audit trail and an easy way to troubleshoot BOM-related issues. The relationship between billed and unbilled transactions. This is another big improvement. It's better traceability between assembly builds and the unbilled records. On the assembly build page, you'll see a related records subtab, including all associated unbuilds, plus a new unbuilt field that shows the total quantity reserved. On the work order page, a similar unbuilt field summarizes reversals across all related builds. And on the assembly unbuild page, a created from field links back to the original build. All of this strengthens visibility in the production lifecycle, reducing confusion and helping teams track reversals more accurately.
Yeah, that's going to save a lot of head scratching for manufacturing teams who need to explain where quantities went.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of all the reconciliation. Now we'll move on to the outsourced manufacturing enhancements. For businesses that rely on outsourced production, NetSuite has added important flexibility and automation here as well. We have an automatic cost update where price changes in POs or item receipts now flow directly through the assembly builds and final production costs. A new generate accruals preference ensures accruals reflect those updated costs as well. We have some better location flexibility. The receiving location on item receipts can now be changed. If it's modified, NetSuite automatically creates an inventory transfer. If it is reset, the transfer is automatically deleted, keeping the records clean. We have transaction synchronization, where build date and posting period will now auto sync with the linked item receipt, reducing manual adjustments. We have custom forms, where you can apply custom PO and work order forms to your outsourced transactions. Altogether, these updates ensure costing stays accurate, records stay tidy, and workflows have less manual interventions. Now we'll move over to manufacturing mobile enhancements. There's a few things here. This is finally a big win for the mobile users, where we get auto generation of serial numbers being supported directly in the manufacturing mobile app. If you're using the lot auto numbering suite app and enable the auto serial number preference, serials are created automatically during mobile transactions. This saves some significant time and reduces errors on the shop floor. So taken together, these manufacturing enhancements give teams greater visibility into bill of materials and production processes, tighter controls for outsourced manufacturing, and smarter mobile tools to reduce manual effort.
Thanks, Eric. So we've covered a lot of ground on the shop floor, from bombs to mobile efficiency. Now let's switch over to the digital storefront. E-commerce also gets an important update in this release, and Swati is going to walk us through it. Swati?
Thanks, Tina. This release doesn't have much, but it generally introduces support for hosting second level domains. For example, yourcompany.com will be directly host onto the NetSuite Content Delivery Network, which is also called as CDN. So until now, NetSuite CDN only supported third level domains, but within this release 2025.2, you can host your second level domains onto the NetSuite CDN. Hosting your domain on the CDN lets NetSuite generate domain validated SSL certificates exactly on your behalf. NetSuite also keeps the certificates updated automatically, removing the need for any manual action that needs to be done. The rules and conditions are same, but when pointing to your second level domains, you still need to continue using the CNAME flattening. This update really matters for the customer experience, which means business can serve their flagship e-commerce sites on their primary brand domain, backed by CDN speed, scalability, and also automatic SSL management. This generally without the overhead of any third-party certificate handling.
Okay, thank you, Swati. That is a big win for companies who want their main site running on NetSuite with less admin overhead, right? Now, with that, let's move into more technical areas of this release, scripting and developer tools. For that, I'm going to hand it over to Uday, who's going to walk us through the key updates of Suite Analytics, Suite Cloud, Suite Script, and Suite Talk.
Sure. Thank you, Tina. So the 2025.2 release continues to modernize the developer experience, and it adds new modules for scripting. So let's look at all the features that are available from 25.2. So let's start with Suite Analytics. Um, First of all, an important reminder for everybody, the outdated netsuite.com data source for Suite Analytics Connect is on its way out. So support already has ended in 2025.1 for netsuite.com data source, and it will be fully removed in 26.1 release. So after that upgrade, the only supported data source will be netsuite2.com. So any queries still pointing to netsuite.com will stop working. So the message here is clear. So migrate your connections or your integrations to netsuite2.com as soon as possible to avoid any disruptions. Another enhancement is with the audience tabs. When you're assigning audiences for saved searches, reports, or KPI scorecards, roles are now split into internal and external. So it makes it easier for you to differentiate between employees inside your organization and partners or customers outside it. Moving on, let's talk about Suite Cloud Development Framework, or the SDF. So as we know, the Suite Cloud Development Framework is a key tool for NetSuite developers, and there are multiple SDF updates in this release. First and foremost, we'll talk about the Developer Resources Hub, which is a new central hub with links to code samples and help topics and documentation designed to speed up projects for both experienced and new developers. Is now available in this release, right? So we also have copy to account enhancements, where you can now copy custom objects and dependencies across accounts without restrictions. And you can also see more cleaner and clear error messages and warning messages to troubleshoot issues. Uh, then we have support for custom transaction type locking. So users can now lock custom transaction types in SDF projects and deploy them without encountering any errors. And then we have a new attribute. It's called the parent role script ID attribute that's made available with 25.2 release. And so when users are creating custom roles in SDF, this attribute is now um, required in the role definition file. So it supports parent-child relationships between roles, and it's especially useful and helpful in the Suite app deployments.
Yeah, that developer resources hub should save teams a lot of time, right? There no more
Yeah.
hunting around for examples or snippets.
Exactly, right. And it's not just SDF. We have more such updates. So we'll talk about Suite Cloud SDK as well. So the Suite Cloud SDK continues to expand across IDEs and CLIs. However, the 25.2 extensions for Visual Studio and WebStorm, they're yet to be made available. So developers using these tools will need to wait for them to be made available. And then we have SweetScript itself. On the SweetScript side, there are some exciting new modules. We have the machine translation module, which lets users translate documents into other languages programmatically, which I thought was a very impressive and interesting feature. So your scripts can now automatically handle multilingual content, right? And then the next module is the document understanding module. Again, this is a powerful module to extract text from the PDFs and images as well. And it can break down content by page and return structured results for downstream processing. So both of them new modules and very interesting and exciting modules. Then moving on, we have quick notes about SweetTalk Web Services integration. So we have two new REST operations. We have the governance limits operation, which lets you to check available concurrency limits for a specific integration, right? So this is very helpful with your integrations, and the response shows the account's current concurrency limit, the unallocated limit and the type of limit. All this information will help you avoid exceeding concurrency limits. We also have server time operation. Again, this returns the NetSuite server time in UTC regardless of user time zone, and this is very useful for synchronization and logging. Okay. So altogether, these scripting and integration updates are about preparing for the future, deprecating old data sources, providing more resources for developers, and adding modules that bring translation, document analysis, and better governance into the platform.
Thanks a lot, Uday. That was short and sweet, but quite informative. And folks, that brings us to the end of today's walkthrough on the 2025.2 release highlights. We've covered so much ground, from accounting and banking to inventory and supply chain to scripting and developer tools. Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any pressing questions, now is the time to put them into the chat box, and we're going to hang around for a few minutes to field any questions from you. Plus, we have our contact information up on the screen in front of you. So if you'd like to reach out separately, if something comes to mind, please don't hesitate to do so. And on behalf of the entire team, I thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day. We look forward to helping you get the most out of NetSuite's new release. See you next time.